I love Louis Vuitton fragrances. I was going through my sample box that I have right here, and if you want me to open it up for you, it is pretty filled, so I can't tilt it too much or it's gonna completely spill over. But I was going through this box and I found two Louis scents, all right? The first one I already sprayed as my scent of the day. It's called Le Montete. Here it is. You know what? I'm gonna just spray a little bit more, because it's on my clothes as well. And this is a nice, easygoing, masculine fragrance right here. It smells like it would work really well in office environments. And it kind of smells like a dad. I'm not gonna lie. It smells like my dad, in my opinion, because the first time I sprayed this, I remember thinking that it reminded me of my dad when he would go to these nice events and then he would spray on, I think it's like a Perry Ellis fragrance. But I'm like, hey, Dad, like you smell really good. So when I first tried this fragrance, that is what it reminded me of. It's just me like watching him get ready and like, you know, doing his tie and then cuffing up his cufflinks and spraying on his cologne. And I'm like, yeah, you smell good and you look great. You look super handsome. And then when I threw this on, and even when I smell it right now, it just kind of reminds me of that moment. So it takes me back to a certain memory. But to me, like if you're a dad, this would smell great on you. And even if you smelled this fragrance and you're in your 20s, you're probably gonna love this as well. I'm not gonna lie. Now, to me, I do find this to be a sexy fragrance, not in a wild way, but in a stable way. Like this just smells like somebody that has their shit together. They're not chaotic by any means. Like they are cool, calm, collected, and they just got it like that, you know? So a very like rich, humble fragrance, in my opinion, that's easygoing, masculine leaning, all right? The next scent that I have here was sent to me by a follower. This one is called Meteor. And Meteor is what I would suggest for the younger demographic. Honestly, older people can get away with this fragrance as well. But I just think that between the two scents that I showed you, I think that Le Montete suits like 25 years and up. And Meteor is like 25 years down. But still, if you're 50, you could absolutely rock the shit out of this fragrance. But this one is super likable. I have it here on my wrist. And it's like this fresh, citrusy fragrance, really. This is the scent that you buy, let's say, if your nephew is graduating college and you want to give him a bougie gift and you get him a Louis Vuitton fragrance. He wears it and he's getting complimented by a lot of people and he's like, wow, I really like that, and other people around him like it. This is the type of scent that 99% of the population is going to like. There is nothing bold, nothing daring about this fragrance. And the same thing can be said about Le Montete as well. Like these are kind of like father and son, in my opinion. And for me, when it comes to Le Montete, I get the same vibe with Creed Green Irish Tweed, where I love wearing green Irish tweed and I wear it for me. Same thing with Le Montete, where it just kind of provides me this sort of comfort that I I just kind of love smelling on myself. It's like for me to spray it on my clothes and to throughout the day just grab my shirt and smell it and just kind of go on like that, not really caring about what other people think. But yeah, this one actually has gotten me compliments when I have worn it before, from women in particular. They're like, damn, you smell so nice. And of course, skin chemistry is a big thing here. So if you wear this fragrance and you're a girl, it will smell different on you than it does a guy, because this one on a guy will definitely smell more masculine. So give these two a shot if you like, but very, very safe scents. Now, I know you hear me talk about Afternoon Swim time and time again on this channel. It is one of my go-to fragrances that is always in my rotation. And I love it because it's this simple, orange, sexy fragrance. Like it's, to me, like one of my sex in a bottle scents that always does the job, right? So I love that one. I love Le Montete and Meteor that I showed you. Well, Meteor I like, but I don't love, but it's still something that I would recommend to people, right? And I love a Trep Revs. Like Louis Vuitton has so many great fragrances. And before, I think I made a video where I said that YSL is my favorite designer house. And the reason I remember picking that brand is because they definitely have more affordable options for the general public. like Chanel does, like Dior and Gucci do, where they have fragrances that can range from $70 to $120, $150 that majority of people can afford. And then they have their private blend lines where they charge their fragrances for upwards of $250, right? But with Louis Vuitton, they only have that $250 fragrance range. They don't have anything below that, at least that I've seen. But thinking about it right now, and just like if I were to list to you the fragrances I love from Louis Vuitton, it outweighs the ones that I've tried from YSL. And don't get me wrong, YSL still is a great beginner house. Like if you don't know where to start and you want sexy fragrances, you start with YSL and you will find whatever you need there, right? But for me, right, I said Atrepp Revs, which is this lychee, chocolatey fragrance that is very sweet, very sexy. I don't want to say very sweet, but super, super sexy with some sweetness to it. It is a stronger fragrance. I love Herbes d'Absence. That one is my sister's signature scent. And that is for the people that want to smell like a luxurious bath. If you want to smell like the bougiest bath of your life with rose petals in there, with jasmine petals, then you throw on Herbes d'Absence. I also enjoy Cactus Garden, which is this very unique fragrance. To me, it's one of their bolder offerings because it doesn't smell like something people are wearing. And it's weird for me to say it does smell like cactus because if you were hearing and watching this video right now, you're gonna be like, what the hell does a cactus smell like? But trust me, when you smell that fragrance, it does have the green element to it. You will know what I'm talking about. And it is something that I've tested and people have smelled it on me and they've went, ooh, that's an interesting one, you know? So it still has that mass appeal. It's not super bold, but out of everything I've mentioned so far, it definitely will take the bold title. Now, another one that I can think of, well, a very fancy one, I believe it's like a $500 fragrance. It's called Symphony. And I will be retesting Symphony again, but to me, I didn't really find it to be that amazing. And when I first tried it, I was under the impression that it was the same price as all the other Louis fragrances, like the 250, but apparently it's double that price. And I wasn't feeling it that much. Even throughout the day as I was wearing it, nothing about it was like Le Monte, right? Where I would smell it on my shirt and just want to put my nose in it. And with Afternoon Swim, where I would do the same exact thing with Herbes d'Absence, with Atrepp Revs. It was just kind of there. Similar to Meteor, actually, where I liked it, but I didn't love it. And then when I heard about the price point and me reviewing these fragrances for you all, of course, everyone has a different budget, right? But in comparison to the other scents, I wasn't too crazy about it, but still very likable, still a likable scent. But here is one that is an absolute banger that I need to get my hands on. It's called Sur La Route. Now, I smelled Sur La Route for the first time on Gabrielle when we were in Ohio because her cousin has a bottle of it. And we were driving in the car and I'm like, man, you smell good. And it was different because I know she doesn't have any perfume that smells like that, but she smelled really good. And it was a very gloomy, foggy day, right? So it was a cold day. And she's like, this is the Sur La Route fragrance. This is the Louis fragrance I was telling you about. And I was like, that shit smells so good. Now, it is a very unisex fragrance, in my opinion. And it's one of those scents that really varies from person to person. And you could say that for all fragrances, but with Sur La Route, it is more of a leather fragrance, right? So I know that if you're a guy wearing Sur La Route, it's going to smell much more masculine on you. Whereas when I smelled it on Gabrielle, I did get the leathery nuances, but it smelled very feminine, just wafting off of her, and I loved it. And I want to wear it for myself and see how it is with my skin chemistry. So it's just one of those fragrances that you know when you buy it, you can gift it to anybody and it's going to smell magical on them. Like I loved the way she smelled that day. So for me, I thought Sur La Route was a bit more feminine when I was smelling it, right? But to her, she finds it straight up unisex because it kind of has like a badass sort of feel to it. It's not your typical floral, sweet, vanilla, rose fragrance that a lot of feminine perfumes are. It had a little bit of edge to it. As she likes to say, there's a little bit of toughness to it that does make it unisex, but it's this very alluring. I found it to be a very sexy fragrance, so I want to get my hands on that bottle and see how it works for me. But I just wanted to make this video because I found these two Louis scents, and we have just found out right now that this is probably my favorite designer brand. I still want to say YSL too, though, just because they have the affordable options. But if we really are talking about the fragrances that I love, like bangers versus misses, then I would give it to Louis Vuitton. Now, don't get me wrong. There are fragrances in this house that I don't like. I can't remember the name of the scent. I think it's like Noir something, but it smelled like Vaseline. And that was an immediate wash off. I was like, I could not stand it. There were two fragrances from Louis, and I have a video on it. I can't remember the names of them, but I immediately had to wash them off. Was not feeling them one bit. But the rest, like that I mentioned, I think the 8 that I just told you, pretty good. Pretty good. And I'd like to try more Louis Vuitton if you see this. No, I'm playing. But yeah, it hits. I would love to have more Louis bottles in my collection, because if you've seen my bottle of Afternoon Swim, it's already like almost halfway done, and I'm like, oh my God, do I get another bottle of Afternoon Swim to refill? Which probably 99% answer is going to be yes. Or do I change it up with something else? And Ombre Nomad is another one I haven't tried yet that so many of you are like, you need to get your nose on that now. So believe me, I'm going to try to find a way to smell it, because I remember you all telling me you can't talk about Louis Vuitton without mentioning that fragrance. So please be patient with me, all right? Anyways, let me know in the comment section below what your favorite Louis fragrance is, or if you have a certain rotation going on. And I'll see you in the next video, all right? And let me know also what your favorite designer house is. Take care. See you later. Bye.